Ooh, I know you hear that. Week 7 recap, CFB Dynasty. Let's go. Final scores, Week 7. North Carolina ends up losing to the computer and Coach PJ Fleck. I warned him. I did receive a text from Coach Veracco last night, and it said, "I hate this game. Don't worry, buddy. You'll bounce back. It happens to the best of us." Speaking of bouncing back, Miami University and Coach Slick were looking to bounce back after a pretty decent game last week. They will remain defeated at 0-6, only put up 8 points against really a scorching offense and looks like a scorching defense at this point as well. And Coach Segura, who put up 66 points, he's now 6-1 and 4-1 in the SEC. Wow. Next, Arkansas, he squeaks it out against Oklahoma State. He's now 3-4. He wins 48-42. I told him he had to worry about Ollie Gordon. I don't know what happened with Ollie Gordon, but it looks like I would presume he put up, a couple of touchdowns there. But he does pull out the win. So good job there. Nice. And lastly, before we get to the buys, we had a few teams on buys this week. Florida Gators coming off that huge performance last week, putting up 85 points. Coach Octor has to go into Knoxville, and he was hanging with me for a little while, but he just made some mistakes, kind of similar to what I mentioned when I played Coach AJ. Those mistakes will kill you. And the interceptions did wind up, causing him to really just lose the game, honestly. And I was throwing some bombs. You'll see it in the clips here coming up next. But I ended up doubling up his score, but really it was a lot closer than that. I am now 5-0. And then lastly, like I mentioned, UCLA, Coach Waymer, Auburn, Coach Stevenson, and Coach Hess at Mizzou all had buys. They're looking to get back to the action this week. We've got 12 clips this week. First one you'll see is Miami versus South Carolina. This is 4th and 1. The guy's open over here to the left, but he just waits a little bit too long. Winds up throwing a pick, and he's going to take that one to the house. He's not catching it. He goes up 14-0 early. Nick Emmon-Rory. I remember mentioning his name rather, at the beginning. He's one of his best defensive players. Number 11, this is our game. Third quarter, I'm up 20-14. I do have the ball at this point. This is a big game time decision here. I start, kind of reading the pre-snap reads, and I don't know what Coach Octor was doing here, or his cornerback. He's nowhere near him. I think he accidentally clicks onto him, and that winds up in a big score and really puts him in a big hole that he can't get out of. Number 10, back to this game, South Carolina versus Miami. He's throwing a bomb. Coach Segura likes to throw a lot of bombs. This one looks like, I believe it's to his running back. He's not going to be able to catch him, and that's another touchdown. Same game, another bomb. But look at the space here that Nick Harbor is able to create. Number 5 is not even close to him. I think he's a linebacker, and that's a big touchdown for Coach Segura, and he was rolling. Here's a big one, another bomb, end of the game. I'm kind of just rubbing it in at this point. Wanted to get some stats so I can get into the Heisman race with one of my players. Nice ball there on the sideline. Great catch by Squirrel White. He had a big day. There's Smokey celebrating in the end zone. You love to see it. And that's all she wrote in this one. Next, back to this game. He's up 52-0 at this point with 3 minutes left. He's going to throw this dig route. Looks like he loves this dig route here. There's a juke, another juke, spin. He's just doing a lot of moves to the air, but it winds up confusing Coach Slick. He actually jukes right into the end zone as well, even though no one was near him. Great play there. Nice. Back to Tennessee and Florida. I'm up 7, 28-21, 3:28 left in the game. This is a big play for me. I was a little nervous. 3rd and 14, and making some adjustments here. You're going to see I just kind of wait. I got a lot of time, and I throw a dime there on the sideline and get the conversion. That wound up really winning me the game. Number 5, Oklahoma State, 28-35. Arkansas kicking it off. Looks like he may have just scored. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Normally, I play the linebacker position on defense. It just helps you cover the pass. But when you got a defensive end like this, boom! He has a nice little shove-off move there. I don't think it was a swim. I think it was more he just pushed off and sacks him. Sack fumble. Big play there for Oklahoma State, especially since he only won by 6. You got to love this play. This is the first one of these that we've seen. It's a trickery, little trick action. Boom. And he's not going to get caught. That's a touchdown. You love to see that. Wow, he even pauses the game there, making sure he gets the clip. I love it. Good stuff, Coach AJ. I like that play. I may be stealing it. Back to Tennessee and Florida. Look at the score here. Look at the time. 5 minutes, 0-0. I'm running low on the play clock. He decides to press me. Very first play of the game. I throw a bomb to Squirrel White, and that's a touchdown. You know, you talk about setting the tone. It's a big part of games and winning them. And I believe that really allowed me to maintain some momentum throughout the game. I love this play here. User lurk. For those of you that don't know, there's user pick, perfect timing, user pick, and user lurk. User lurk means you're that defender the entire time. And that was number 2. And I love that it was with the defensive lineman as well. The only reason it's not number 1 is because the game wasn't even close, so it wasn't a big situational play there. But you're going to see a big situational play here as well. I won't give anything away, but you're going to see me go to Perry over there on the left, and look at that. User lurk. Oh, man, that feels good. You love to do it. You love to see it, and I love seeing it back, watching it back. That was a big play. Going into the stats, North Carolina Tar Heels, he did wind up putting in his backup quarterback, Connor Harrell, and this guy is a whole lot better. You'll even see his, I guess you could say, attributes or skills there, rather, those physical skills. He's got a lot of them. He needs to keep this guy in. 3 touchdowns, 4 picks, 252, 13 for 28. Not a great day, but again, this is the first time in the game, first time starting, I believe. It looks like Max Johnson may have started, but then he remembered a little later on to put this fella in the game, so he'll get better. Like I mentioned, looking to bounce back, but J.J. Jones, what a name, senior deep threat. He had 4 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. Pretty good day for him. Next is Miami. Cade McDonald had 2 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. I do like the fact that he was spreading the ball around, but as we saw in the recap at the beginning from the scores from week 7, he didn't have a great day, but I did want to cover this. So you're getting better, Coach Slick. Keep it up. South Carolina Gamecocks, I did adjust their banner up towards the top there, and you'll notice South Carolina is now ranked 17th. From 21. So had a big day, as we all saw. Lenora Sellers, 5 touchdowns, 305, 0 picks. He was 12 for 12. So he didn't throw an incompletion. This is the first time I'm now realizing that. That's crazy. Nick Harbor, again, platinum takeoff. We saw him in the highlights. 4 catches, 183, 3 touchdowns. This guy is pretty unstoppable. To Arkansas, 209, 3 touchdowns, 19 for 26. And this Tesla guy, Isaac Tesla, great name. He had 4 catches for 100 yards on the dot, and just eclipsing the century mark with 1 touchdown. Florida Gators, 332, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, 22 for 33 for DJ Lagway. Again, those mistakes are going to wind up costing him, and they did. And you've got Arliss Boardingham, his tight end, 9 catches, 111, 2 touchdowns. Couldn't stop this guy. I couldn't stop the Dyke guy either. 5 catches, 103, 1 touchdown for him. On to myself. Big day. 402 on the yardage, 6 touchdowns, 19 for 24 for Nico Iamalieva. And then Squirrel White had a big day. You saw him all over the highlights there. I threw a couple of bombs to him. 5 catches, 216. He eclipsed the 2-century mark. 4 touchdowns for him. So huge. And I mean, there's no surprise. That's going to feed us right into the duo of the week. And it's my 2 guys. I won't cover it much further. They're good. And I got to feed Squirrel White the ball a little bit more. So good job by these fellas. I am a proud coach, I will say. We did have 2 national players of the week again. We did see Landon Jackson at the beginning in those highlights have a sack fumble. He had 6 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. He is the defensive player of the week nationally for week 7. And then Squirrel White, no surprise, 5 catches, 216, 4 touchdowns. That leads us into the 2024 Heisman Trophy race presented by Nissan. Jarquez Hunter is still at the top, even though he didn't play this week. Will Howard still second. Omarion Hampton still third. We got to get these Oregon fellas out of here. Dylan Gabriel and Trayshawn Holden, both. They must be putting up some massive numbers. I got to look into this. They're ranked first, and they're both in the Heisman race. So let's get some of our more of our players in there. I need someone in there as well as 2 other people. So let's aim for that. Conference standings, not much has changed here. You'll see the rankings. I am now ranked 3rd nationally, 5-0. I am at the tippity top. Auburn now ranked 15th, even though they didn't play, so they're down to 15 from 16. And South Carolina, like I mentioned, they're 17 from 21. Some good records you'll see here. I do play UCLA this week. He's at 4-2. Coach Waymer in the 4th spot, so if he wins, that'll be a big win for him. And then the rest of you guys are in the race still. You just got to make some stuff happen. So speaking of making things happen, here's week 8, the upcoming games. UCLA, I just mentioned, Coach Waymer, 4-2. He does have to travel to Knoxville. This is a 5:45 p.m. game for the number 3rd ranked team in the nation. I'm a little nervous trying to stop this air raid attack that he has. And I did speak with, he's pretty close with Coach Octor, and I did speak with him. Coach Octor mentioned he's got the game figured out. So we'll see what happens there. I'm a little nervous, like I mentioned, but good luck to him and everyone else on here. Speaking of everyone else, South Carolina versus North Carolina. We got the Carolinas. No surprise, this is a rivalry game. 6-1, Coach Segura going against 3-4. Coach Veraco in Chapel Hill, 9 p.m. at night on the 17th, it looks like. So that may be a Thursday night game. Interesting there. We'll see. I'm excited to see what plays out there on the results and the scores. Arkansas, Coach AJ is now traveling to Florida. Coach Octor looking to bounce back off that loss this week, and Coach AJ looking to keep things rolling and hopefully get to 500 and eventually above 500. So that's in Gainesville. Looks like it's a mid-afternoon game. Moving on next into Auburn. They're ranked 15th, as I mentioned, 5-1. Going against Coach Hess in Mizzou. It's in Mizzou. 12 p.m. game, so very early. We'll see. That's in Columbia, and good luck to both fellas there. And lastly, I mentioned it in the channel, the PR news wire that I had sent out. Miami, Ohio, 0-6, looking for their first win, close to home for Coach Slick against Northwestern. They're 3-2. Not going to be an easy game, and as we saw, Coach Veraco did lose this last week against the Computer, so that's the first loss against the Computer. We'll see if Coach Slick can make that the only loss against the Computer this week, or this year rather. Good luck to everybody, and we'll talk soon. Later.